You know, we're all caught up in the AI revolution, but there's this massive problem hiding just beneath the surface. And believe it or not, a small Canadian company thinks they have the key to solving it. Today, we're diving into the story of Poet Technologies. So, let me ask you, what do you think actually powers the AI revolution? I mean, your first thought is probably the software, right? The incredible language models, all those clever algorithms. And yeah, you're not wrong, but that's only half the story. Because underneath all that brilliant code, there's a very real physical world of servers, switches, and miles of cables. The entire AI revolution, it literally runs on hardware. And here's the kicker. That hardware is hitting a wall. It is seriously starting to buckle under the strain. Think of it like a massive invisible traffic jam forming in the data centers that power everything. And this traffic jam, it's threatening to slow down the entire AI revolution to a crawl. Okay, so what is this bottleneck really? What's causing this invisible traffic jam? To understand that, we've got to dive deep inside these massive data centers and see what's really going on. You know, this quote from Poet Technologies' own public filing just nails it. They say the rise of AI has placed, and this is their word, extraordinary demands on data centers. We're not just talking about more data, we're talking about needing that data to move at insane speeds, with way more bandwidth and with basically zero delay. The digital highways we built, they just weren't designed for this kind of traffic. All right, so if the big problem is a massive traffic jam in our hardware, who's out there trying to build a faster car? Well, that brings us right to Poet Technologies, a company that's pretty sure they have the answer. So who exactly is this company taking on such a huge problem? They're Poet Technologies, a design and development company out of Ontario, Canada. They're publicly listed, and really, their whole mission seems to be laser-focused on one thing, building the technology that can finally unclog this massive data jam for AI. And they're not just some small local shop either. Just look at their global footprint. Even though their home base is in Canada, they've got operations in the US and crucial hubs in Singapore and, up until recently, China. This tells you they've strategically positioned themselves right in the heart of the global semiconductor supply chain. This is a company with serious global ambition. So the big question is, how are they planning to pull this off? Well, it all boils down to one piece of really cool core technology. It's their secret weapon, and it's called the Poet Optical Interposer. Okay, so this right here, this is the key to their whole strategy. What the optical interposer does is pretty incredible. It combines old school electronics, data moving with electrons, with photonics, which is data moving at the speed of light, and it puts them both on a single tiny chip. The best way to think about it is like a microscopic, super efficient highway interchange for data. It takes all the slower electrical traffic and seamlessly merges it onto these blazing fast fiber optic superhighways. That's how you break the current speed limits. And what's really wild is when you compare their method to how it's normally done, the conventional way, well, it's super expensive. It involves all this labor-intensive work, like manually aligning these tiny, tiny parts. It's a nightmare to scale up. But Poet's platform, it's designed from day one for high-volume, cost-effective manufacturing. Basically, the same way we make regular computer chips. And that, my friends, is a potential game changer. All right, so you've got this incredible, innovative chip technology. What's your next move? For Poet, it's to make a massive bet on AI. They are going all in, basically rebranding themselves as a pure-play AI hardware company. They're not hedging their bets. And if you're wondering why they're making such a big bet, well, this is it. They're targeting the market for these super high-speed transceivers. Those are the little gadgets that actually send and receive data inside data centers. And they're focused on the 800G stuff, which is exactly the speed that hungry AI applications demand. Just look at these numbers. The market is expected to absolutely explode, going from $1.5 billion to almost $10 billion by 2032. That is a massive wave, and they are paddling hard to catch it. And listen, they are absolutely putting their money where their mouth is. Just look at their R&D spending. They are consistently pumping over $10 million a year into developing this tech. For a company their size, that is a huge, huge commitment. This isn't some little side project. This technology is their entire reason for being. Now, to actually pull this off, they've had to make some pretty sharp strategic moves. They've shifted to what's known as a fab-light strategy. All that means is they've decided to focus on what they do best, designing the chips, and let someone else handle the manufacturing. So they sold off their own fabrication plants, took full control of a joint venture they had in China, and then started winding it down to get away from geopolitical risks. The final and maybe most important piece of the puzzle was partnering with a big-time manufacturer in Malaysia to handle the mass production. It's a smart play designed to be way more flexible and a lot less risky. But, of course, trying to revolutionize a multi-billion-dollar industry, well, it's not cheap, and it is definitely not without enormous risk. So now we have to get real and look at the financial tightrope that POET is walking. So let's start with a pretty stark number. For the 2024 fiscal year, the company reported a net loss of $56.7 million. That just goes to show you, developing this kind of bleeding-edge technology costs an incredible amount of money. And that wasn't just a bad year. If you look at their accumulated deficit, that's the grand total of all their losses since the company started, it stands at a whopping $271 million. That really paints a picture of just how long and expensive this journey has been for them. You know, you have to give them credit, though. The company is completely transparent about these challenges. If you dig into their official filings, they lay out the risks in black and white. They say, and I'm quoting here, "We have a history of large operating losses." They talk about their need for additional financing, which may not be available. And they even mention the possibility that we will not be able to compete. They are being incredibly upfront with investors about the whole situation, the need for cash, the intense competition, all of it. This is the high-stakes reality of the game they're playing. So, when you boil it all down, this whole story hangs on one really fascinating question. On one side, you have POET Technologies with this incredibly elegant, potentially powerful solution to a massive bottleneck in the AI revolution. But on the other side, you've got this immense financial pressure and ferocious competition that could absolutely sink them. It's like that old saying, in a gold rush, sell shovels. Everyone is scrambling for AI gold, and POET is betting the farm that they've invented a much, much better shovel. The only question is, can they survive long enough for everyone to realize they need it?